This is a video tutorial on adding and subtracting radicals. By the end of the video, you should be able to do just that, add and subtract radicals. Let's begin with some vocabulary. We have two terms that we have to be familiar with. The first is the coefficient. The second is the radicand. For example, in our first one, A, 7 is the coefficient. In our second one, B, the 5x is the radicand. So in other words, the part out in front will be referred to as our coefficient, and the part under the radical is called our radicand. When we speak of like radicals, we're referring to terms that have the same radicand. So the part under the radical has to be the same. For instance, 2 square roots of 5 is like to 4 square roots of 5 because the part under the radical, the radicand, is the same. Similarly, 6x and negative 2x would be like. Or 3 times the square root of 4t and the square root of 4t would be like. However, things such as 2 and the square root of 15 would be not like because they don't have the same thing under a radical, the radicand. Here, the 6 square roots of x and the square root of 6x are different because the part under the radical, the radicand, is different. And again, we see the same thing in 3 square roots of 2 or 2 square roots of 3. In other words, if the number in the radicand is the same, then you can add or subtract them because they will be like terms. If they are not the same, again, if they are not the same, you cannot add or subtract them because they are not like radicals. When we are combining like radicals, it's very similar to combining like terms. For instance, 2 square roots of 5 plus 4 square roots of 5 comes out to 6 square roots of 5. This is similar to adding 2x and 4x to get 6x. Let's try doing the following problems together. Number 1, 9 square roots of 3 take away 4 square roots of 3. That leaves us with 5 square roots of 3. We are simply subtracting the coefficients. In the next one, when we look at it, it's tempting to subtract the 5s from the 2s, but we cannot because they're not actually like radicals. Okay? So the two that we can combine are this negative 5s and this positive 9 5s, 9 square roots of 5s. And so what that leaves us with then is 2s, and then we are going to think of this term, the minus square root of 5s is minus 1 square roots of 5s. So when I put together a negative 1 and a positive 9, that leaves me with a positive 8 square roots of 5s. Try these on your own, so pause the video and give them a try, and then check your answers against mine. This is what you should have gotten. In the first one, I'm thinking of this as being 1 square root of m minus 7 square roots of m, giving me a negative 6 square roots of m. In the second one, I can only combine the first and last terms, because those have like radicands. The one in the middle, the 2 square roots of y, cannot be combined with the others because the radicand is not like. So sometimes we actually have to do some simplification before we can add or subtract, because they may not appear to have like radicands. Watch me do these. If you need to, please go back and review our previous work on simplifying radicals before doing these. I'm assuming that you've had previous experience at this point. So, looking at the first one, the square root of 45, I can simplify that into 3 times 3 times 5, square root of that product, minus the square root of 20, I can simplify that into 2 times 2 times 5. Then that now becomes 3 square roots of 5 minus 2 square roots of 5, giving me 1 square root of 5. Because now at this point we have like radicands, although it didn't seem that way to begin. The next one will be much the same. We'll have, under the radical for the first one, that can turn into 5 times 5 times 3. And for the second one, that turns into, let's see, we have 5 times 5 times 2. So this becomes 9 times 5, the 5's come out, square roots of 3, plus 2 times 5 square roots of 2, which gives me 45 square roots of 3 plus 10 square roots of 2. And I notice now that the radicands are not the same, so I can't go any further with this one. Please give these 4 problems a shot on your own and see how they work out, and then we'll check them together. So please pause the video. These are the answers you should have gotten. I simplified them one way. You could simplify them other ways, but these are our end results. Please check your work against mine and try and make sense out of anything that may seem confusing. You can do it. I have faith in you. Good luck. Have fun.